What shall I write? What can I say? How can I tell you how much I miss you? The weather here has been as nice as it can be, although it doesn't really matter much to me. For all the fun I'll have while you're away, it might as well rain until September. When I look at the words of the great Carole King's classic song, I now understand where that mind blip of the Premier's announcement must have come from, because it didn't come from the roadmap to recovery. It didn't come from the roadmap to recovery. I read the rest of the words, but I'm sure members can see that. But the reality is there's no entertainment for those whose lives have been smashed since this government, this Labor Premier, threw out the roadmap to recovery announcement of a mid-July opening date, flip-flopped at a media conference and said it could be September. And now she is raining on the Sunshine State's recovery, because the reality, she's taken us from a situation where the objective was to flatten the curve of COVID to elimination, and is deliberately playing on the fear of people who now think that if there's a case interstate, then their lives are being put at risk. Well, I can tell this parliament there are lives being put at risk, because now where we're at with the success of flattening the curve, of ramping up the capacity of our health systems across Australia, the tracing systems, and being ready to address and not have the horrific situation that's happened overseas, we must ensure that the borders are open in a timely and clear way, and that helps business, and also that there's consistency in those COVID-safe plans. We have only just seen a few weeks ago this government look the other way with a limp approach to 30,000 people marching the streets in Queensland, and they go, oh, well, you know, just don't do it. While there were businesses that have been absolutely smashed by COVID, and then the flip-flops and how this government's addressed it, who had liquor licensing people out with their rulers trying to measure distances between tables and telling them you could face a $6,000 fine if you allow someone to go up to the bar and order themselves a drink. While 30,000 people were marching the streets, they were actually, under this government, penalising businesses that needed certainty and help, where the rules only came out 24 hours before in regard to their COVID-safe plans. But to address this issue of state borders, I want to quote my own 91-year-old mother. And I love her. She's feisty and she's direct. She is a former nurse. She nursed through polio outbreaks. Her own mother, my grandmother, nursed through the Spanish flu. And my feisty 91-year-old mother says, for goodness sake, you've got to open those borders before September. This is ridiculous. This is about a government that's now playing on people's fear. She knows she is in a vulnerable age bracket, and the reality is that COVID-19 may be around for years. However, you can't close the borders for years. There will be no economy left.
For Logan.
This government is a roadblock to recovery. They have flip-flopped in regard to the certainty. I know it's funny to the Labor members who probably never had a private enterprise job, but we've been dealing with people who have been desperate on the phone.
Member for Maroochydore, resume your seat, please. Member for Logan, I just called you to order, placing you on a warning. Member for Maroochydore has the call.
When we hear that $653 million a month is being lost to Queensland with the border closures, that's those mum and dad operators who've been on the phone to us and saying, that's our business, that's 20 years, that's my house. I don't have an investment program anymore because I've just lost it. And the reality is you can give grants, you can give loans, and you can give even JobKeeper. But if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. And the time has come to have certainty around the border opening, stick to the roadmap to recovery, and to stop speaking and leading people through fear the way this government has blatantly done. And they are playing with people's lives. There's been a magnificent job done with the health system. We're not Italy and we're not the USA, even though I keep hearing people quoting it from across the chamber. Our health system has magnificently risen to the challenge, but now we must ensure that those people who potentially not only may lose their businesses but may lose their lives with the economic devastation that is facing them as you deny them the customers across the border, the certainty to be able to have people book their holidays, run their businesses, whether it's in the hospitality industry, whether it's in the aviation industry. They must have certainty. We must have a clear date in opening the borders, and no more of this disdain for the economic impact on people's lives.
Mr. Speaker.